So that's it for the overview of the system. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them at this point using the chat window. And it looks like we have one. It's from John. Hi, John. Looks like you have a question on testing the high and low temperature alarms. Good question. I'm going to move the camera closer to the unit so we can show how we do that. So I think that looks pretty good on the screen. We'll go into our settings menu, enter our passcode, alarm icon. So our alarm test is a little bit different than some procedures out there. The unit actually takes control of the Peltier and it will heat the system up, and if it goes above the high point it will alarm. If it goes below the low point it will alarm. It's much better than removing anything or putting stuff in ice water. This is actually all programmed in the unit to make testing those alarms very easy. So we'll test the high alarm first. We'll hit alarm test. And actually what it's going to do, it's going to run the temperature of the unit up to 23.5 degrees C. So it's going to be putting voltage into that Peltier to add heat into the system. As it does that, it will approach that alarm set point and it will alarm, and then that's proof positive that if your unit goes above that 23.5 degrees C, it will alarm in time. So I guess we'll just give it a couple minutes here. Now it may take a second to heat up because the PID control of the system, it's tuned so they can maintain that temperature at 22 degrees C. So we're starting to approach that temperature, and the second we go over it, the alarm should go off. Yep, and there we go. We have our high temperature alarm right there. We can silence the alarm directly from here, and we cancel the test. And if we want, we can test the low temperature. It'll take a little time to do that because the temperature of the system is already pretty high. We'll just skip that, but what you would do is hit that and then go into here, and it will start bringing the temperature down to 20.5, and once that hits 20.5 it will alarm. But we've got a little while to go before it gets down there. So it looks like Sue has a question about the inventory management system. Just wants me to run through that one more time. So we'll go back out to the home screen. We can see that the temperature is elevated because of the last test. We have our high temperature alarm right there, and you can see it's grayed out because we cleared it. It will be on the event log. See high temperature alarm triggered right there. If we want, we could actually print that out. So we have our high temperature alarm right there, and it was cleared. So we'll go back and we'll go through the inventory management system. So we'll go in there, and if you remember, we added 2 bags to shelf 1 and 1 bag to shelf 2, and what we'll do is we'll add another round of bags to shelf 3. So we'll put 3 bags on shelf 3, and look at the expiration date on the bag itself. And basically what this will do, today is the 19th, we'll just scroll up until we actually have the date that it expires on. And once we have that for our 3 bags, we can hit check, and our inventory management screen takes care of that. Another nice feature of this touchscreen interface is it will rotate through some screensavers. One of those screensavers is the inventory management. Another one of the screensavers looks like the home screen, so it has the actual current temperature and the set point, and the time and the date. Another screensaver actually looks like the temperature graph. So it looks like like we have another question about calibrating the temperature. We will go into the settings menu to do that, and we'll enter our passcode, our default passcode, and to check the temperature or calibrate the temperature, you use this icon right here. So the way that you calibrate this unit is first you will calibrate the cold, and you will have your temperature measurement device in the unit, and you will enter the actual value. So right now it's trying to achieve a temperature of 20 degrees C. We would have a thermometer or measuring device, an RTD, inside the unit, and then we would just enter our actual value for our calibrated device right there. We're not going to do that because it will screw up the current calibration right now, and this unit is calibrated, and I don't want to do that without a temperature sensor. But as you can see, it's moving down. This box will turn green when it's ready to take the measurement, and then you just actually enter here, hit check, and you will then calibrate the high side. Now this is a 2-point calibration, and we're able to maintain very tight accuracy on the system because the window of control is so small. Since we're just trying to maintain that 22 degrees C temperature set point, we can be very accurate, and that's indicated by some of our graphs. See, right now the low temperature alarm went off because it's trying to calibrate. So I recommend, if you're going to calibrate the temperatures, that you actually shut off the speaker like that, and then you won't have nuisance alarms, and then just make sure to turn it back on. So we've got another question from Jen. It's about how would you change the passcode. All right, so we go back into our setup menu. We enter our default passcode. So this is the factory passcode, and that's in your manual. It's actually, I think, on the second page. So we just enter our passcode here. We confirm it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit check. It's all good to go. Just to show you what would happen if you didn't do it right, go to confirm passcode, and as you can see, they're not the same, and it won't take it. So that's pretty much how you do that. Once again, this is how you would set your temperature. I'm just showing you while we're in this screen, but most of the time it's going to be set at 22 degrees C. It looks like we have a question from Sarah about changing the x-axis on the temperature. So yeah, I set it to 3 days just so we didn't print out tons of information on our print. But if you go to the x-axis, you can actually get 30 days of data on the graph and on the printer. So if we go back into here, you can see we've got some data up until 324 hours ago, but it looks like the unit was turned off back here and turned on. So let's look at 7 days worth of data, which is what someone typically might be looking at. And as you can see, we have our low temperatures over here on the right side because we were testing all those things today. We were doing some other testing a couple days ago and some other testing right there on this unit right here. So that's how you would change the x-axis. I'll print you out an example so you can see what that would look like for 7 days. And then if you were actually hit the download, this would be exported to a CSV file, which opens up in Microsoft Excel to show all the timestamps for the unit. So you can actually download all these data points. So here's our graph of the unit. It's time stamped. You can see those excursions we had where it went high and low from testing, and then our anomalies today from when we were testing the low temperature alarm and going through the calibration. So it's a really good resolution on this graph. You can see that the y-axis goes from 19 degrees C all the way up to 25 degrees C. This paper is almost at its end. That's why there's this red mark on it. I would say that a roll of paper would last a couple months at least, because it doesn't take too much to print up 7 days, and a roll is many, many, many feet. So it looks like we have another question. It's from Ann. It's about the alarms on the system. And I think the best way to go through those alarms is to go back into the home menu and then go into the help and run down to the bottom of this to show all the different alarms of the system. So here we have one alarm. It's an expiration warning notification. So this is tied to the inventory management system, and this will alarm has a bag that's approaching expiration. Now you can configure these alarms in the settings menu, and I can actually show you real quick how to do that. Inventory management system right there, and what we'll do is we'll touch the yellow indicator. When inventory has less than 36 hours left, the shelf will turn yellow on the inventory management screen and on the screensaver. If it has less than 18 hours, the shelf will turn red, and you will get an alarm. If you don't want this alarm, you can actually just turn it off, and as you can see, there's no alarm associated with the shelf turning yellow. So it's just a good way to keep track of your inventory so you don't have any bags expiring. So we'll go back to the help and run through some more of the alarms. So the battery alarm, this system has rechargeable batteries inside of it, and it's constantly checking those batteries to make sure that they're holding a charge. If they don't hold a charge, or if they're not within the threshold, you will get a battery alarm. Or if you power down the unit without going through the proper power down method, it will drain the batteries, which take care of all the data logging to make sure that your inventory is still in compliance. And if you drain down those batteries, you will also get a battery alarm. So this is our low temperature alarm. So if you go below that 20.5 degrees C, you will get that low temperature alarm. Our high temperature alarm, if you go above 23.5 degrees C, you have your network alarm. So if you do have this hooked into a system and it detects an issue with that connection, you will get an alarm with that. You have your door alarm. So if you open the door and you leave it open for an extended period of time, I believe it's 2 minutes, you will get a warning, because the inventory could heat up or cool down and not be maintained at the proper temperature. We have a general equipment alarm, so there's a lot of onboard intelligence in this system to make sure everything's operating correctly. If there's any issues with it, it will let you know. And then the agitator alarm. So if the agitator has a fault, it communicates that to the system, and it lets you know that the agitator has stopped and it's not warranted, so it wasn't a planned stop. Well, it doesn't look like there's any additional questions, but I want to thank everyone for logging on and taking part in the online demonstration. Thanks for your questions. They're greatly appreciated. They help us show how to use this system and the user interface. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me. My contact information is on the website. I'm Brian Canna at Boekel Scientific. You can also email our general information email address, which is boekel-info@boekelsci.com. At boekelsci.com, we have a 1-800 number and other ways to contact us regarding this piece of equipment or any of our incubators or food safety equipment or blood banking equipment, anything. So thanks again. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to log off, and feel free to contact us.